Hey people! And today we're going to be building this T-Rex head with bronze effect. But how will you do this? I'll show you. Okay, so what have we got here? Let's see. Okay, let's just transfer this roughly here. So we'll just do a quick drawing here. We'll go like that. Okay, and down to there. That. Okay, that's your side view, and that's fine. That's all we need is the side view. We'll just cut that out and place it on a stand. There we go, done. Okay, so got this piece of MDF here. It's not going to be the base, it's just for now, just to hold on to it. So there we've got, it's going to stand like that sort of thing. Now what we've got here is we have to remember that this piece will be the center of it. So it's a center cutout line, not the outside of it. The outside of it goes down that low, like the lips, but inside it's going to go like that, so like the gums. So we're going to have to figure out, so that is roughly about there. That'll come down like that, if you know what I mean. And then this here will come, I'll just eyeball it, about that high. This bottom side we don't have to cut into it because the tongue itself there, that will be higher, like so. So we've just got to cut that out and then we're ready to go. Perfect. Okay, so I've cut this piece down a little bit so it's easier to handle. I'll just put that on there somehow. This doesn't have to be pretty, it's just got to be functional. It's just got to hold it on. I think we'll put 2 in there, that should do it. Making sure I hit that wood on the other side. Yeah, that looks strong enough. I'll just cut that down and attach it to this. The great thing about this is we're just using scraps of wood, bits and pieces that normally would get thrown away. This way we can reuse it. There we go, that'll be plenty strong enough. I'll just screw them down. Again, not pretty, just functional. One more there. Perfect. Okay, now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill that eye out just so we've got it, a pole sticking through so we can see exactly on both sides where that eye is going to live. Okay, so I've got a little dowel here. It's just a plastic dowel. I'll just poke that through, all the way through, and just leave it hanging about 20 centimeters each side. And now for some expanding foam. Okay, all we've got here is some fix and fill expanding foam, quick setting, just the stuff you put around windows to seal up little gaps. And what I like to do is I like to just wet the surface where I'm going to apply it. Hold on. Like that. And just put it on very slowly because this stuff can blow everywhere. Now remember, this stuff grows 6 times or 15 times the size, depending on what it says on the can obviously, but I'll take a look in a minute. Just go around that area. We know that cheek's going to come out a bit more there. Don't go crazy because this stuff will expand big time. You'll be surprised. Just go around the eye there and down the nose. There we go. Build that out. Just imagine those cheeks there, and of course back of the neck, like so. And as soon as I've applied it, what I like to do, I like to just wet it a bit and just let that set, and then I'll do the other side. Okay, it's all dry. I've applied it on the other side. As you can see, that's the little dowel going through for the eyes. Now I checked on this, it's actually 20 times, so that's why it looks so big. But don't worry, I'll just start carving that back and I'll get straight back to you. Okay, so now we've got all that outline back. You can see all the way around, and now what I like to do is I like to use the thing I always use with everything I build is synesthesia. So basically, synesthesia is when you hear a piece of music or a sound, you sort of put a shape or a color to it. So in this case, I'm looking at this bad boy and I'm seeing him roar. So I can see those sharp teeth and I can see those deep sockets there in the eyes bulging out of it with the eyelids flaring back where he's roaring. So listen to the sculpture and carve those shapes and you can't go wrong. Okay, so we've got it refined a little bit there. And what's happening is, naturally, as I've just cut it roughly, something's happened. It's gone sort of onto one side, so some foam there is missing, and there it's stuck on there. So what's happened is it's kind of twisted. So again, listen to the sculpture and do as it tells you. It's happened naturally, so we're going to use that angle coming from there, as if his head's going, whoo. It's going like that. He's like, seen something, prey, yeah? So then I've left that a bit higher, obviously, and this dowel here will just poke that through, cut that off there, so we still have a gauge where the eyeball needs to go. And then I've just cut these two little pieces up, just off all of this here. I'll just put them on there like that, and you can get an idea of how fast you can sort of see where we're going with this. Can you see that? It's that easy. It's my favorite time of the sculpt boy. It's just throwing things at it and just trying things out. All these bits, just cut a piece off, you know, let's quickly just make him a tongue. Just curl that up a bit. Let's take a look what that looks like. Yeah. Carve that down to nothing. Put that in there. Oh, he's got a tongue. There we go. Na 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 na. Yeah, see? Simple as that. Okay, I'll keep going. Okay, so I've refined that back a bit. I've just stuck them on with some floor contact adhesive. Just stuck them back on like that, just to give us an idea. I've cut that tube down to size. I've put that little tongue in. This is not what I'm going to use. I've just used these little bamboo skewers just to poke in some teeth, just to make myself feel better about looking at it, so I know I'm not just carving something here that's not going to end up looking like anything. So let's just take a look at what size of eyes I'm going to use. Okay, these are just eyes that I cast constantly. Every time I have some resin left over, I don't throw it away. I put it into one of my molds. Perfect. Okay, let's take a look. Oh yes, that's it. I can see it now. Front view, side, and sort of coming from the back. Let's take a look what that looks like. Yeah, it works. That's his eyeballs. I've refined that some more, glued that on, put them little bits on there, and the bottom here, I just noticed that it, as I said, it sort of turns, the head turns in like that, and I thought, well, it's telling me it wants to swirl down like a sort of an ice cream, like a cornetto. And if it swirls down like that, it changes the dynamic of the stand, obviously, over there, but it looks cool. And the reason I don't really like to work with, you know, like an exact reference, because I want it to be one of a kind. I mean, this is, you know, making it up as we go along. And I love that, because when it's done, it's really come from inside you. Whatever's in your mind, transferred through your hands into the sculpt. It's so much more satisfying that way. So now I'll just go in with some aluminium tape and basically just go all over all of that. And it's exciting footage, so I'll just do it off camera. I'm just going in there and just finding those details on the back, those little bumps there, those little ridges, and also on his neck there, just there. Now I'm just going in to the nose here and creating that little bump. You know, a while ago my cousin, she called me and she said, have you seen the new Jurassic Park trailer? It's out. I said, oh yes. I said, funny enough, I'm just shooting a video about that as we speak. It was her birthday recently, she turned 40. And I said, don't worry about it, kid. Age, it's just a number. Like my grandfather said, 40 is the new 30. Lovely man, but got banned from driving twice. Okay, just put that on there. Finish that off. Oh, look at that. Oh yes, that's what I'm talking about right there. That just gives it that whole different side profile, see? Oh yes, I like it. There we go. We're all set. Got my chopped up matting and my resin. Let's fiberglass this bad boy. Time lapse. Mr. T-Rex is done. Now, he's dry, back here, a little bit tacky around the mouth, but don't worry about that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to apply the Epoxy Sculpt. Now this is the stuff here, it's 2-part, mix them together until they're one uniform colour. And you can apply it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make him a little tongue, because once I put the teeth in there and all the gums and everything, I won't be able to get in there. So I'll do that first, work from the inside out. And I'm going to make him a tongue that comes out like that and bends up a bit like that. Bit of a tongue twister. Okay, so it's all mixed up, no streaks. We're ready to go. Now let's just make a little shape here that we think it's going to look like. So side view, that. It's a little bit too much there, I think. It'll blend to nothing. So if that blends to nothing at the back, from the front view it looked like it's going down all the way like that. So I just put that on there and then we'll shape it. Get it centered like that. There we go. Oh yeah, that's it. Get some tools. So we're just finishing off this tongue here, giving it all the little details that'll sell it beautifully. I just want to just lift that up a bit like that to give it a more look like, oh, it's too much. Just bring it up from there instead, like that. See, that's it. That's gonna look, oh, stay there, stay. Bit of, it's not staying there, it's not staying up. Bit of reptile dysfunction there. Okay, just hold that there. I might have to set this to dry downwards like that, so gravity holds it. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. Right, so while that sets up there, I'll just make him loads of teeth out of the stuff that was left over so we don't waste any. And all this is basically just rolling it out to a point like that and then just breaking it off, just making a little tooth. And we can reshape these after we've got to make loads of these, because he's got loads of teeth, sharp teeth, and they need to set. So when we go in with those gums, these will just poke in really easy. I'll refine all of these. I just want to get them into the sizes I need. Okay, I'm going to make 64 million of these and then let them set. Right, so I've sculpted out all my little teeth and it looks like I've gone a little bit overboard, but T-Rex had 60 serrated teeth. What a nightmare for his dentist. But this one, I think, had good hygiene because it's a Velociraptor. Okay, no more jokes. While those teeth are drying, I just mixed up some more 2-part Epoxy Sculpt. And I'm just going to give him a layer of skin, just a little layer of skin. That's why it's important when you, first of all, you carve back the foam, make sure it's smaller than the finished project, because you're going to put the matting on, which takes up a little space, then the skin, and then of course all those scales and texture. So if you carve the first foam shape too thick or too big, you end up with this stuff being too wide and sticking out. All I'm doing is I'm just giving him some skin, just so we cover all of that. And then when we go in with the fine detail, you'll be able to just stick it on to this, because that's the great thing about this stuff. You can, once it's dry, you can stick another layer on, just keep going. And to smooth this out, all you need is a little bit of water on your finger and you can just smooth it out. What I normally do is I just put a little bit of water in a little glass, just keep it there next to me, as if you're working with water-based clay. You don't want to soak it, but just those bits there where you can see, you can get some water and you can just smooth it off. Right, so I've got a nice little layer of skin on there, just gone around it, not too thick, because you can always build up more. And if you go too far, you can sand it back, I suppose, but why waste the material? Now, to smooth it out, as I said, a little bit of water there, hope you can see that, in a little jar, not too much, and you can just smooth it out. Look at that, look at that, it just smooths out. Obviously, we don't want it too smooth, but I'm just showing you what you can do with this. Just like that. You can also use a paintbrush for those areas hard to get into, like that, your finger, like that. And then of course you can go back in with your sculpting tool and create all those wrinkles and stuff. So I'm just giving you a quick example here. This is not how it's going to be, but just to give you an idea. And then just go over that with some water like that. You see, I've got like a nice little texture going on. I've also got some little bit of epoxy here, and I'm going to stick these little eyes on. Just put a little bit on there like that, put it into its socket there where it's going to live, and just let that set like that. Put the other one in straight away so we're not crooked. Take a look at it from the top view there, that's good. From the front there, side and the back. Yeah, the reason that looks more protruding is because it hasn't got the skin on it here, but yeah, that's going to work out nicely. Yeah, I'll just carry on with that until we've got skin over the whole thing. And also notice that I'm staying away from the gums because I'm going to put them in. When all this is set, I'm going to put them in last. So we just place those teeth in into those gums. Okay, so I've refined that shape a little bit, and all I've done, while it was still malleable, I just went in and created some wrinkle lines there and textures, and I used these babies. I made these ages ago. It's just a bit of doweling with this stuff actually put on there, and just different textures on there, and just go in and just poke it like that. It gives it a very organic look. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and do the roof of the mouth, put a skin layer all over the whole thing, and I'll get back to you. Right guys, so all I've done here is I've just put some of this on the gums. I've just made the top of the mouth, the gums, and I've poked those teeth in, and now I'm just going in and giving it some texture there around the teeth. I'm not put them in straight because I want them to look like they're all over the shop, and it'll sell it more as a aggressive monster. That side there, see that? And then you see the lip will come down over that like that. Can you see? So only when you look in you'll see the gums. And done. That's the top layer in. See that? Hope you can see that. And then obviously the lip comes over this like that. Okay, we'll let that dry and I'll carry on. I've managed to get the teeth in the bottom there. So all I did was I just put a layer for the gums, and while it was malleable and soft, poke those teeth in that have gone off. And now I'm just going to do the lip. I don't know if you can see, I've done the top lip there. I've done the gums first, put the teeth in, let that set, and then I put the lips on. So I'm going to do the bottom one here. Really simple, really. Once that's gone off, you can just put this on, and I'll continue from that line there and just put it on all the way around. Create like a lip like that, and I'll just perfect that, and then it gives it good like depth in there, like so. Right, so we've just gone round that, just cleaned all those edges inside, and now I'm just going in on that bottom bit there with some water, just water. Don't soak it, but just, you know, a bit of a dampness on your finger, and then you just go in as if you've got a little bit of paint on your finger and you're just trying to touch something and get that texture on there. So like that, that's straightish. Hope you can see these angles. I'm just going in with this texture tool, and I'm just gonna ever so slightly just dampen it down and just tap it like that. You see what that does? Just gives it an uneven surface. When you hear it tapping, that means it's gone off. So you go way onto that to make sure you're covering all those bits like that. See? Just blend that back. Go all the way around, and that's the whole mouth done. Okay, that's about right. That's looking good now. And now I've got some left over here. I mixed too much, so I'm gonna do one of two things. I'm gonna put some little bubbles, you know, just random ones. Just stick them on like that, just randomly. It just gives it a more scaly look. Some small ones around it like that. And then, because I mixed too much and I've got some left over, I'm gonna make some little like stones, bricks, because I've got a great idea for the base. So I just make little squares like that. Just little squares, and just place them down like that, and just, and just texture them like that. Just texture them. So the base, I'm gonna make it so it looks like, it's like a key render wall block, and the key render is like smashed, and the brick, exposed brick, is showing from behind the wall. It gives it that three-dimensional look. Really, really cool. See what I mean? Like that sort of a look. Like a old-fashioned brick in a vampire castle, like Dracula's castle. There we go. Just texture. I don't know if you can see that, but just giving it some texture with this, like that. It doesn't matter what shape, because the more misshaped it is, the better, because it'll just look like real bricks. Can you see that? The sculpture is done, and it's looking okay. Nice side profile there, symmetrical-ish front, nice detail inside, nice dynamic pose there, twisting. And all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sand it down a little bit, and I want to cut it off about there, like that, and make him a stand where he's going to live. There we go. Perfect. So all I'm doing here is I'm just mixing up a little bit of resin, some Ical talc, and some catalyst. If you want to know how to do this, basically just do what it says on the tin. I've also got loads of videos online where I go into detail about all these things. So check it out and you'll see exactly how to do this. Just mixing up a little soft mix like that, just pouring it into this Tupperware. Make sure the table's straight. Yeah, that should be plenty. And now all I'm doing is I'm taking these little stones I made earlier, and I just place them in like so. So it looks like a stone wall, like that. Just stagger them like that. It'll look like an old castle, and just let them set like so. Right, so all I've done here is I've just, out of a cardboard box, I've just made a little box like that, cut the ends off like that, and then just put some cardboard and then stuck it down with this silver foil, just like that. the reason I'm using this silver foil is because when I put my matting and fiberglass over this, I want the fiberglass matting not to stick to the cardboard because I want to take it out. So I'm just left with an empty box shape of the fiberglass, and then I can back pour it and it'll stick to the sides. So there you have it, cardboard box reused for a stand. Right, so I've got my box there already. What I've done is I just cut a hole in it, put a bit of like a little bowl, Tupperware bowl there, stuck it down just so I've got something to hold it in, and then I've gone in with some tape just to create a hole where the neck is going to fit into, and we'll back pour that. Now all I'm doing is just got my mat in here. I just cover the box. Doesn't have to be pretty because we're going over it after with the top coat to make it look like very rough textured key render. I've just cut some simple shapes here, the shape of the box roughly like so, and go all the way around that. Simple as that. Okay, that's about all covered. Just covered all those little triangles there, sides, push them in nicely. Doesn't have to be perfect, as I said, doesn't have to be pretty, because this is supposed to be like an ancient piece of key render of a building that's been abandoned for years, and the key render cracks. You see the exposed brick through it, so it's meant to look misshapen and not perfectly symmetrical. And I know you're saying you're making excuses because you can't do a good job, and you might be right, but in this case it will suit the style of the sculpture. There we go. So that cavity there is that bit of Tupperware upside down, and that will receive the neck. I back pour that with resin, poke it in, let it fill up, and then that will be in there solid forever. Okay, there's your base. Right, that's gone off nicely, and now all we do is just take the inside out. Sometimes it fights you a little bit, but don't worry, it will come out because that silver foil tape will not stick to the fiberglass, so it will come out. See, just like that. Just pull all of that out. The Tupperware is plastic, so that will come out too. There we go. There we go, done. And now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out that shape there, which is, remember the thing I cast with the bricks in? That will just go behind that like that, with that cut out, with that exposed. Okay, I'll just cut that out. Yep. Now remember, the rougher that looks, the better. Yeah. Yeah, that looks good. Right, so I've just refined that a bit more, made it look more cracked and broken, and that will fit there inside. It's going to look really cool, three-dimensional. And then I took some Epoxy Sculpt, I just flattened it out, put it on, cut it around like a little plaque. And now I'm just going in with some Ical and resin. I'm just staying away from the hole because I'm going to backfill that when I place the sculpt itself in. I just want to make this look like it's, you know, badly plastered wall, and make sure that's all nice and thick there. So the thicker this is, the deeper that will look inside. So I'll just comb that in like that. Just let it drip inside, it doesn't matter, because we're gonna back pour that when that is on there and seals that window. We'll back pour this, so it'll give it a bit of weight to hold on to the sculpture, because it's not heavy, but you don't want it to get knocked over, and with this being heavy, it will sort of hold it upright. Just go around this quickly. It shouldn't take me more than 2-3 minutes. Right, so I've just painted around that, and while it was still wet, I've just scratched in some cracks there. I don't know if you can see around where the opening's gonna be. Those cracks there. I've kept that open at the top. Just some cracks there, just all the way around really. So it looks like a block of stone that's cracked and originally was bricks underneath. And then we'll just place that in when all of that is set on the inside. Just glue it in with some 2-part epoxy. Just put that all the way around, stick it on, and it's done really. Mixed up some 2-part epoxy and just put it onto this like that. Just make a little sausage, put it onto that like that, just roughly. Just place it in where it needs to be. Just glue it in like that, and then let it set. I'll just clean up these little bits here. And that's it, that's it. Right, so that's all dry. I've just sanded it down a bit. Once I'd finished that window, I just backfilled that to the top. It's got nice little weight to it. So now, all I'm gonna do, just set this up to the right height, like so. And then I'm gonna put that into that cavity there and rest him on there like that. And all I'm doing is I've just got some Ical, some resin, and some catalyst. Just put that in there like that, just a little bit so it doesn't overflow, and place it in a little bit more in that. Needs a bit more, just so it bonds to both. Put a little bit on that there. Just place that in, like so. Just get it centered so it's resting perfectly. That's good. I'll just clean that up with a brush. Just pull it out like that. Hope my angles are okay here. I can't really see. Just pull it out so it joins that. We'll sand it all down after when it's dry. So now we've got a good mechanical bond between the bust and the stand. There we go. It's all dry and it's ready. There he is on his stand. Lovely, nice dynamic pose in the mouth there. Hope you can see. Yeah, exposed brick. It's really nice. Okay, now let's give him an undercoat. There he is, undercoat on. Okay, let that dry and we'll go in with some detail. It's all dry, ready to go. Now, to make this bronze effect, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go in with my airbrush with some magic color. It's like ink, black ink. And I'm just going to shade it as if I'm painting it for real. Just shading all those deep cavities. And we're gonna keep that green going, because that way it looks like it's patinaed. Getting in between those grooves, those deep cavities, side sockets. Just giving him some shading where it feels like it needs to be darker, just like that. But I want to keep that green alive. Looks about right. There we go. Nice and dark in those eye sockets there, so they look really deep. Right, that's nice and dry now. It's ready for the bronze look. Now, what I'm going for is I'm going for copper, Sylvia and Goldilocks, and I'm going to do a combination of all these, and basically I'm going to use that green and that black in the background. Now I would say teeth and the tongue and the gums have to be one shade, which will be silver, because I want to colour them a little bit afterwards, but the outside can be more, you know, warmer colours. Teeth have to be like really silver sharp, like that. You know, whenever I've done in the past any sculptures with like a tongue or teeth or a big cavity in the mouth like this, I always think about a story I was told many years ago. There was a bridge that was built in 1839. It took 9 years to finish, and the legend of the story is, I don't know if it's true, but as the story goes, a guy was commissioned, an artist, to sculpt 4 lions at the gate, so to speak, as you get to the beginning of the bridge to greet you on either side. And after 9 years of hard work, there was a big crowd gathered, and the artist himself made a speech to the people that had gathered around, and he said, if anybody can find anything wrong with these lions I've sculpted, I will commit the ultimate sacrifice right off this bridge. And cobbler's apprentice shouted out from the crowd, he said, these lions are worthless, they've got no tongues. And true to his word, he did just that. He committed the ultimate sacrifice. And I don't know if it's true. Obviously it's just an urban myth. But there's something about that story that always haunts me every time I do a sculpture with a tongue or a teeth or a deep mouth like that. To think someone was so dedicated to their art that they were willing to sacrifice the ultimate for it is fascinating. I think it would make a very fascinating film. So if there's any directors out there watching, you heard it here first on Ical Big Makes. And if you like, I would be able to sculpt those lions for the movie. There, you see how that's coming to life now. That's looking good. Just a bit of silver to start with. Just hit those highlights there, like so. And when we're done with this, we'll go in with the gold and then the copper. Okay, now I'm going in with the gold. Just rubbing it on some highlights just to warm it up a bit. You know, me and my pal who edits these videos, we were watching the new trailer for Jurassic Park, and it looks absolutely amazing. Now, I'm not spoiling it because obviously the trailer's out there for everybody to see. But basically, the dinosaurs get out into the open amongst people and cause chaos. And here I am talking to myself. Now that's chaos right there. And I had in the background, while I was sculpting this, while I wasn't filming, the original Jurassic Park. And there's something about that movie that when I came out the cinema that day, all them years ago, it just changed my life, literally. And it wasn't just the effects of the dinosaurs, it was the storyline, it was the way the whole movie's made, and just amazing. It just changed the way I watch movies. A few movies have had that effect on me, but Jurassic Park in a big way. And I was watching the extra features. There's a very interesting interview with Steven Spielberg, and he says that dinosaurs have the pull and seduction of mythology. Only it's not mythology. It's got its roots in reality. And I have to agree that that's why these creatures are so fascinating. After millions of years, they're finding these massive bones in the ground. And if you think those massive bones in the ground are impressive, imagine how big the dogs was that buried them there. Okay, so I'm just hitting those highlights with this gold. That looks good. That looks brilliant. And also this right here. We'll just warm that up a bit. Those stones there, so they pop. Oh yeah, just these edges there, like so. And now the copper. Now this goes on top of that gold just to make that pop a bit. Be very selective with this one because it's the warmest color. So we want it just to pop a bit, just like that. And the back here. Where's the goat? And now for the big reveal. Oh yes, there he is. Mr. T-Rex is done and he's looking cool. Now what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd measure him in height, and to compare height I thought I'd use a cardboard cutout of Mr. T himself. Yes, I pitied a fool. When I was a kid, I used to eat 3 meals a day. Oatmeal, miss a meal, and no meal. Right, let's measure him. Okay, so Mr. T is coming in at 1 meter 80. And Mr. T-Rex is coming in at 40 precisely. Okay, so 40 centimeters, 180 centimeters. Let's do the math quickly. Okay, so we've got 180 divided by 40, 4.5. So there you have it, 4.5 times. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. And again, if you like it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.